So today, it's Tuesday, March 24, and I officially open up the page, the COVID-19-MAN. And I welcome all of you, to join me. And it's basically a group, for us to share what is it that we have used in the past, in dire situations, or when you go into some ordeal, especially I thought of using this right now, at this moment, because we happen to be going through an unprecedented time that has never happened in the history, I think, of the world. I think the world has never gone through this before, so this is like a new thing for the whole world. That everybody's going through the quarantine period, and a country at a time. We started last week here in California, I know that. So I figure, this is something that I want to use to share what has helped me. Since 2003, when I got really sick, that's the year that I came down with everything that you can imagine, that's the year that I developed the diabetes and the works, I got diagnosed with diabetes in the summer of 2003, that's the school year. And that's the only year that I happened to have insurance, by the way. Because I went to work with East LA Light and Life, just for 1 year, for 2002 to 2003 school year. And I was there with them. And that's the only year that I was able to use Kaiser Permanente to figure out what was wrong with me. Which was, I had diabetes, with the onset of that, then all kinds of problems you have, I had also acid reflux. I couldn't eat anything past an hour in the afternoon. I would have to sleep with a lot of pills in my bag because all the acid reflux will be bothering me all night. But that's just part of it. And then later on, to top it off, on September 12th of that same year, I took the youth group from Hacienda Heights to a Christian concert in, Magic Mountain. And when I was there, when I drove him back, I was driving a van. When I drove him back, I felt dizzy, like I was drunk. I got up to go pick up the van, and it felt like that. So later on, I found out the next day that I could still feel the sensation that I was drunk. So I went to the hospital, the Valley, I think, and the one in San Gabriel. And then they diagnosed me with a minor stroke. And so that year was the worst to me. And I apparently last year, between 2002 and 2003, that's also when the SARS, the other near pandemic virus was detected. But I wasn't too much into that. I was just too sick of my own diseases to figure that one out. But since then, because I was put on medication, and I felt so out of touch with everybody. I felt completely lack of any energy whatsoever. I couldn't do anything like before. And they had me on 8 medications, something like the first time they had me medications. I had to figure out a way, to get out of those medications, and I found about the water cure from Dr. Farandum Batman Jelic. You can look it up, and it will be some good book to support. I call him my real superhero because his last name is Batman Jelic. He's a guy from Iran, a medical doctor who discovered the water cure during the regime of the Ayatollah Khomeini. So he tells his story about it, but it's a pretty good book. In a matter of a couple of months, I was off all my medications just by following his protocol. And so that's how I started my journey, and I started changing my ways of eating and stuff like that. And since 2003, it was in November, I believe, 2003, I'm happy to say I have never taken any prescribed medication. Since that time. After 2 months I start, and I have not taken any flu shots. I don't get the flu. I don't get everything because I watch what I eat. I avoid sugars. I avoid wheats. And at this point I have the habit of just eating 1 meal a day. Okay, in 1 hour during the day. That's all I do right now. And that's been since 2015 I acquired that habit. Between 2015 and 2016. Yeah, between those. Then 2017 I was really full flag into that, but I was already practicing that. But, to say the least, that's the things that I have gone through. So I figure I have acquired certain habits that have enabled me to train my body, to withstand all kinds of situations. And I've gotten into different kinds of fasts with just water, or dry fast. I've gone 7 days without eating any water or any solids. just to try to see what my body will react. So I've tried that, and while I was working, my 40 hours a week, so I was able to do that. So I know my body can do that. I tried urine therapy. I did a urine therapy fast for 22 days, and that worked great also. So I've done all kinds of fasts to subject my body to different protocols of fastings, and so I know more or less how my body functions and where I can work with it. And so what you discover when you do all of that is you learn to listen to your body, and you learn to work with your body. So, and your body becomes your immune system becomes very strong because you subject it to different situations that you don't have to. The whole world doesn't have to do that, but I was just doing that because I wanted to figure out what things can this body do. This body is magnificent. The body that God has given us here. This body is very economical, by the way. If you learn how to train it right. And so I've come to this time, and I know that now we're going to this pandemic, and I think I'm going to share this with you, the things that have helped me in the past, the things that I've acquired. That in following days, I'll also be sharing with you the meal that I cook if you want to find out, the little habits of what I drink. I drink a tea that I drink every day. I'll explain that to you. I'll give you a little idea of that. But today I just wanted to welcome you guys, to this group. And the reason why I've done a little appropriation or misappropriation of culture, if you please, in this case, virus culture, or what they call cultural appropriation, when you claim somebody else's name. I call myself the COVID-19-MAN. And see, this is my virus culture appropriation or misappropriation if you want to accuse me of that. But the reason being is because this little virus is being paid attention to right now. People have gone to churches, they listen to the dabar, the word has been preached to them, but they're not listening to that. So it took a little virus that can make you sick because you're so deficient. As I was explaining, if you saw the introduction that I made yesterday, I was explaining that according to John Warren, he wrote a book called The Nature of Crops. And John Warren wrote a book called The Nature of Crops. And he said in that book, there's only a meager 200 plants that we are eating, all countries commercialize for us to eat, from 300,000 species of plants that are available. There are edible plants that are available. But we are only, trained by countries, by industrialized countries, just to eat about 200 of those species of plants. Okay? In that book, he indicates that there's about 400,000 species of plants, but about 300 of them are edible. Okay? And he talked about if we are only taking about 200, and that's if you eat all those 200. Most people don't even eat 200 plants or fruits, in their whole life. Maybe 30 or 35 at the most. I tell people to name me about 20 plants or 20 fruits that they eat. After most of them stop after 12 or 15. So imagine how deficient we are. If the garden that was made for the care of our bodies was made of approximately 300,000 edible plants. So what does that tell you? We are deficient. We have been set, we have been left, in a situation right now. We have been left in this situation to just be deficient, and therefore we're going to be weak. And that's all these people, To me, it's a conflict of interest for one organization to dispense the drugs and also take care of the food. I'm talking about the Food and Drug Administration. That's a conflict of interest. The one that is going to regulate your food is also going to give you your medication. That tells you, and that a lot of them are involved with pharmaceuticals. So there's all a conflict of interest right there. Okay? But you don't get to vote about that because you're not in charge of the care of your body. Somebody else is. Okay? And if you don't understand how the things were made, you don't understand how deficient you are. So you are set up to be in a deficient state. You're raised in the garden of lack. You are nurtured with things that are not. And then the markets produce about 600,000 edible products. And all processed foods, they have been stripped of their natural ingredients and added a little powder of some vitamins there and says, enrich with this, enrich with calcium, enrich with this, and that's what you're left with this situation and this scenario in which you're growing, and so, that's what I'm saying right now. And also, I think I was trying to relay yesterday in the introduction is that for the Torah, for the instructions, to appropriate the character of the completer, the creator who was complete, he gave us the Torah. And that's from Genesis to the end of it is 304,805 characters, letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the sequence of that. The sequence of letters total is 304,805. So imagine that. So we'll learn that. And if you learn all the Torah, by the way, if you memorize the whole Torah, you'll know how to run a country, because it tells you everything there. About how to take care of families, how to take care of marriages, how to take care of, the soldiers, how to take care of everything. People when they're ready for this and when they're ready for that. If you memorize that, you can run a whole nation, Contrary to if you memorize the gospel. You can memorize all the gospel, but you won't be able to run a whole nation with those things. I remember at the beginning I used to memorize the book. I memorized the book of Jude. I memorized one of the books of Peter, and other books that I memorized. Early on in when I started this thing with Christianity. But the Torah, I'm finding out that if you memorize the 5 books of the Bible, you can run a whole country. And it's amazing how much of it. So my aim in the next 10 years is to memorize the whole thing in the original Hebrew, in the sequence, back and forth. That's what I'm aiming at right now. That's what I'm working on, because to me that's it. That's the book. And I call it Torah, and I call it teachings, orderly regulating all humanity. Okay, it gives you the teachings in there is to acquire the attitude and the character, the way that your creator thinks, the way that your creator feels, and the way that your creator chooses. Because he created all of this, and we were just to be in his character, because we were going to be the outlets from which his character was going to flow. So God is not in his creation to get anything and grab anything from it, but to be happy to take care of it. Because that's what a creator does. He doesn't grab anything of what he has made. He makes the products to send them out, so everybody that does not have them get to enjoy them. Okay? So we went to appropriate and be in his character. Alright, but we forsook that. Okay, so then we are left where we are. So since we deviated from that, then you are not left free. You got to work for a company, you got to work for a service, or to provide anything. And every job that you go to work, they're going to give you teachings orderly regulating all humanity. Everybody gets a little teaching on how to make this product, how to serve this service, how to do those things. Everybody gets those teachings orderly regulated. That means controlling what you're going to do in there. Nobody hires you to say, just come here and do whatever you want. No. You're going to have your teachings that orderly regulate all humanity. So everybody has a little Torah to give you. So you don't escape the Torah, because it's translated in King James and all that as law or commandments. But actually in the Hebrew it's more like teachings. Okay? So you receive teachings, orderly teachings, on how to do things, because everything has to be in the right order. So everybody gets a teaching. And one thing that you need to understand, that once a product or a service is made, and they have written the manual, they know exactly how they want it to run, that product, that service is a dictator. You got to work for a company, you don't go there to offer your opinion and say that you're willing to do this and that. No. That's exactly, it's a complete whole product, it's tested and everything. You just go there to work and do everything that they dictate for you to do for that product and service. So every product and service that is whole and complete is a dictator. So that's the dictators that you believe in. That's your teachings orderly regulating all humanity. So everybody's subjected to a Torah. So I might as well be subjected to the original one. That was going to tell me how my maker is, how he thinks, how he feels. So he could flow out of my character in his environment that he has created. Because this thing was created in his image, and he is the only one welcome in this environment. So he gave us those so we can acquire his mindset. But you will not be able to escape the teachings of orderly regulating all humanity. If you're not going to get it from the scriptures, you will get it, from somebody else that hires you. They're going to give you the teachings orderly regulating all humanity for you in order to run their product and run their service, and so you to be able to have a job there. So there's no escaping those teachings. Okay, so that's why I like to be with the original one. The original Torah is really easy to follow. It's just to acquire the mindset of your maker. So you live in this world not desiring anything for yourself, because you realize that everybody that is in here arrives here complete, and is ready to replicate, reproduce. That's why the commandment of the celebration of completeness is what I call the FMR. FMR, he said that to all the organic, including ourselves. Be fruitful, multiply, and replenish. You're so complete that you can replicate yourself, so just go and do that. He said that to the plants, he said that to the insects, he said that to the animals, he said that to us. Enter the celebration of my completeness. Everything is symbiotic relationship. Everything is working for something else. So offer of your part and reproduce yourself. Be fruitful, multiply, and replenish. A celebration of completeness. That's what he made us for. That party of completeness, And we deviated from that. So now we are raising the garden of lack. Okay? And what is the garden of lack? The garden of lack is the one that you have to count everything. Okay? I try to explain this like the garden that God created at the beginning is what I call the garden of life. Because when it comes to life, life is magical and it's unpredictable. Okay? But when it comes to the garden of lack, it's monotonous. You can say monotonous because it's predictable. Okay? And therefore controllable. So because the garden of life is magical and unpredictable, it cannot be controlled. And that's why men don't like the garden of life, because they cannot control it the way they want to. Alright? And what I mean is, I explained this as the mathematics. Okay? The mathematics of the garden of life is magical and unpredictable. But the mathematics of the garden of lack, is predictable and monotonous and predictable. You know exactly. And most of the math that you learn in school, I don't care how great a mathematician you are, you like math because you can predict the results. You do this formula with that formula and you know exactly, if you follow the formula, this is how much it's going to be. But when it comes to those calculations, like for example, you know that you have one and you add another one, you're going to get 2. Okay, that's the results of it. But in the garden of life, you have 1 and you add another 1. You'll have a man, you add a woman, and what are you going to get? Not only those together, but 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Who knows? Even the girl can get triplets. But the thing is, when there's life involved, the math that we learn vanishes. Cannot count those things. We don't know how many kids are going to coming out in the end. And even for the trees, you plant a tree, in the original 3D printer, I call the soil, the ground, the little software and the seed goes into the ground gathers all the ingredients through the process of photosynthesis and the water and everything, and voila, it brings the apple tree, brings out the mango tree, but that once it comes out, how many fruits is it going to make? You don't know if you're going to make 100 mangoes, or 300 mangoes, and those are seeds, you don't know how. So out of one tree, 300 mangoes are going to come out. 300 mango trees. So you cannot calculate it. They cannot calculate it. They cannot do an estimate on that. They cannot control it. So we like to have a garden in which we can count things, and that's the garden of lack. And you have been raised in that garden. You understand? I don't know about this, but there are countries, I was just reading just 2 weeks ago, that there are countries from the Amazon to Nicaragua, during the jungles there, that are anomeric. That means they don't use numbers. They don't have words for numbers. Think about that. Because these people are fed by their jungle and their surroundings. So they don't have to fight about their food. The food is there all year round. They collect it from their own environment. Nobody's fighting for the food there. So they don't have to fight about, okay, these 3 mangoes are mine. None of that stuff. They have a concept of some and few. But just a word for that. They don't have a word for numbers. They are numeric people. And that kind of made me understand, yeah, of course, because the magic of life, the garden of life is unpredictable, and you cannot, so it goes beyond. And I used to tell this to math teachers, math, you teach that you got students that are very smart, but when it comes to life, the math doesn't go there. It stops right there, because the math of the garden of life is magical and unpredictable, so that's what we need to understand. So, but you are raised in this garden of lack, and that's, you learn to count things, and you learn to go by measures, and that's why they instill you to know numbers, because you want to be in the garden in which they're going to be telling you lack this, so you need to get that. You lack this, and you're going to get to that. So in the last 200 years, we have become multimillionaire in needs. There's so many things that have come out in the last 200 years that I didn't know I need them, but now I know I need them. All the stuff, all the products and services that they tell me that I need. But what's the point of trying to be rich in needs and not being able to get enough to satisfy those needs? So this is the environment, so that we are accustomed to grow right now. So I'm going to be bringing all these things to light, all these points of view for you to see, to understand what your heritage was to begin with, in a garden of life, where the mathematics, like I say, are magical and unpredictable, and what you have ended up with, because that's the point of view that you need to remember where we started with, from this environment in which we are deficient at this time and this hour. Because we are deficient, what ends up happening is that these people know, people like the FDA, since they know what goes in our food, they know how deficient we're going to be. Just like I was in 2003, That's the time that I was really huge, 300 and something, 350 pounds. I had gotten to that point, and then I developed everything. Like I say, I had high blood pressure, high triglycerides, you name it. And with the onset of diabetes, you get everything that goes along with that. Erectile dysfunction. You get all kinds of stuff that your body is not functioning. At the age of 43, and I had all these problems already, But I'm happy to say, because I discovered the right process, the right food suite, got into fasting and all of that, my body functions like a 25-year-old now, in all aspects. Okay? So the things that I'm going to give you, the things, the recommended diets that I follow, if you carefully listen to the stuff I'm going to be sharing, hopefully all the things that you have suffered, all the things the abilities you lost in your body might come back to you, But that's what I'm going to share with you. But also I'm calling myself the COVID-19 man, is because COVID is a little shorting, because it's the corona. From the corona they took CO, and virus they took VI, and the C's. So they put a D. So it's CO for corona, VI for virus, and D. So they put it together and they call it COVID, right? So that's coronavirus disease. But they're shortening it, and then they put the number 19. Now, if those are studying numerology, you know the biblical meanings of 19. 19 in the Bible is the number for divine order or God's judgment. Okay, there was 19 wicked kings in the north in Israel, and after that the Assyrians took over. And so 19 is always, divine order or God's judgment. And so 19 years ago there was judgment on America in 2001. And this year, in September 11th, it's going to be 19 years later. And this is the 19th. So, and this started last year in 2019, this COVID-19. And so, the reason why I appropriated that, because I'm going to share with you, I have a passport here. When I came to this country in 1975, it's a Guatemalan passport. I don't know if you can see it here. As close as I can here. But it's a Guatemalan passport. And then and here I'll show you the picture. So that's me when I came here. As you can see here, I'm getting close enough, but that's me right there. Okay, and here it shows my whole name. I'm trying to get as close as I can here, but you can see there's Zacharias David Emmanuel Castro Stevenson. Okay, Zacharias David Emmanuel Castro Stevenson. All right, so that's my whole name right there, and I don't know if it's too dark when I get that close, but that's the whole idea. Zacharias David Emmanuel Castro Stevenson. Let me see if I can put this lamp up a little bit. No, this isn't going out. So, but that's my name there. I hope you guys are able to see it. And but what I'm sharing that is, when I came to this country, I didn't have to use David and Stevenson, because you don't need that many names and you don't need two last names here. So I dropped the David and Stevenson. I've been writing a book since last year, and I was going to write the author of the book. I was going to use David Stevenson. Okay, the names that I haven't used in this country. And David in the Bible means the beloved. So my whole name, the meaning of my whole name is God reminds, or God remembers, or God reminds or assembles, because to remember is to assemble things together again. God assembles the beloved, that's David, within us, as Emmanuel. And Castro just comes from the word castle, means a strong tower. Strong tower is the father. And then Stevenson just means, Stephen means crown, corona. And son, as hijo, it's the son. So my whole name means God assembles the beloved within us, the Father's crown son. Okay? I find that a very fascinating name that I thought I will never be able to live that unless God makes it happen, because that's a very powerful name to live up to. But I've seen God working things in my life to this point that I'm very amazed, and the understanding that He was giving me now that I'm getting into the Hebrew letters, whew, that's what I'm ready to share, So I wanted to use that name, David Stevenson, which is still, the book's still in the process. Hopefully we'll finish this year. But David Stevenson, you take Stephen is crown, corona, okay? And David, you take the last three letters, VID. So you put CO for corona and V. So that's why I use that name, because he has the last name the names I was thinking of using for my book, David Stevenson, with Stephen is corona. So he has it there, the co and the vid. And 19, the reason why I like the 19 is because I was 19 years old when I began to read and get into the Bible studies very seriously. It was in 1979, March 1979, that I started this whole thing with Campus Crusade for Christ, and at that time, I was 19 years old. Okay? So when I was 19 years old, that's when I started to get seriously into the Bible, and since then, up until all this time, we've been 2019 was 40 years that I've been through the Scripture, studying the Bible day and night. Even I went with confrontations with teachers and preachers and pastors that I had to confront on a one-to-one level. I did not do it in front of the multitude, and to tell them that there was something wrong with the way they were going, and they didn't like me, and they kicked me out of their fellowship or the churches or what have you. So I've gone through all of that stuff already. But what I'm trying to tell you is, that even though I've gone through all of this, it's very encouraging to see that that I started at the age of 19, and 40 years later, I'm still on it. And then starting this year, 2020, it's when all this pandemonium is broken loose, But at the same time, I know exactly how to take you into the Dabar land, the promised land. The word promise in Hebrew is Dabar, which means word. The promised land. I understand what it means, to take people into the promised land. Okay, according to the function of scriptures. I'm gonna, we're approaching the month of Nisan, they call it, the month of April. It's a very interesting month for me, according to what I can see in the scriptures. But everything is happening right on the right time, So I want to share all this with you. That's why I appropriated that name, so you understand. That's why I came up with the COVID. I thought this is my name. I can use it. And the reason why I want to use it is because everybody's paying attention to this virus. So I want to be the spokesperson for this virus. I want to be the oracle for this virus as to why God has sent it. And apparently, we are being treated as viruses, because if you understand computers, in the environment of computers, you will know that if you're living in a computer and you're put in a quarantine in a computer, you are a virus and you're a Trojan, because that's what computers do. The quarantine, the Trojans or the viruses or the worms, the things that can affect the applications and the programs. They have firewalls for that. They have antivirus programs. They have all kinds of stuff. And so right now, we are the ones being treated as virus. And we are virus. But we are virus to what? We are virus to the wholesome words. Because words can be found in two stages. As wholesome words, that means a word that is full of its meaning and its definitions. So therefore, it makes you be a producer of an economy. Or a word that is just a sounding symbol, just the sound of it. So you know how it sounds, and you know what the silhouette of it looks upon the dirt, looks upon the dust. So therefore you think you know the word. But that only makes you a consumer. And a consumer that eats away a product and does not know the full meaning of the word is a corrupter of the word and a consumer of this world. And therefore you're a virus. You behave like a virus. That's your function, to behave like a virus. And that's how you were raised in this farm. So that all the comforts that you have, all your smartphones, do not make you smart. They are the only ones that remain smart. They make you dumb. You know, I used to be able to memorize 20 phone numbers or more in my head. I cannot do that anymore because of what? I have it all on my phones, but I don't have to, right? You know, my dad's 85. You're going to be 85 this year. And he can remember even the old numbers that I used to have before. He's got a great memory for that, you know. And the thing is, we have acquired a technology that has made you lose our ability. And we were the ones to inherit the word and to relish it and remember everything like that. You know, so this is the problem that we have right now. All right, so that's the whole idea that I want you to take you into. You know, so we want to be confronting this situation and how is it that we are viruses to the wholesome word and understand that it's because of that judgment is coming. Because if you do not learn the word with the heart of a word is its meaning, by the way. Because when you know the meaning of a word, like a car or TV, you are alive. You're animated by that word. That word is alive. It makes you a producer, makes you make cars, makes you make computers, makes you do all these things. But a word that is stripped of its meaning and definition is a dead word. I call it a won't be. You know, a word that in you just make you eat away the word because you don't know the meaning and you eat away the product. So you're like a won't be. You're consuming the product, you know. So it's a disgrace to the word to use it as a won't be. You know, just to know the name so you can go eat it and consume the product. No. It's going to be a wholesome word. A top the bar. You know, the good news means the top the bar, the wholesome word. The top is good or functional. The word that functions to make you a producer. And that's why I'm trying to elevate in this whole thing that we're going to be doing, you know. We're trying to elevate your esteem of the word. How are you going to employ the word? We were the ones that were created to have fellowship with the word and to use it and receive it into this with all of its definition and fullness and relish everything of it, you know. And so that's the whole idea. So I welcome all of you once again. You know, this is just the start, but we're going to be looking into a lot of things. We're going to be getting into understanding, you know, the letters or the Hebrew alphabet. Oh, you're going to love it. I mean, that explains everything. You can even use it to decipher other languages. You know, that's something that I've discovered. Nobody else has taught me, but I have been testing it for all these years, and it's wonderful for that. But in any case, I'll be sharing that stuff with you little by little. So I appreciate your time. You know, that we had to be together tonight, but this is just the start. And then again, I welcome all of you that join. You know, and I'll be sharing more of this as the days go by because I'm going to do this every day since we are isolated. You know, so I thought I just dressed up today a little bit because, you know, it's my welcoming speech to everybody. So I'm going to be look a little bit more relaxed, you know, on other videos. You know what, you got to do the first impressions first, you know. So so I am the COVID-19 man. I even have a song that I'm working on. And hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be able to sing it on you, you know. Sing it for you, that is. But thanks for watching for tonight. You know, and once again, welcome to the cloud technology. Because we're gathering in the clouds these days, whether you like it or not, since we're quarantined. Thank God for the clouds, right? The cloud of technology has us together. All right.